I want to tell you about a young patient who's only 25 years old, who also works for Bell Media, the company that owns CTV. A colleague, Brian Fraser, is the technical producer for The Morning Rush with Bill Carroll at CFRA in Ottawa. But right now, his full-time job is battling acute leukemia. There is Brian in better days, and Brian joins me now from his hospital room. There you are, Brian. Great to see you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And first of all, tell me about the leukemia diagnosis and what sort of treatment you're receiving right now in that hospital.
Well, good morning, Lisa. And I've been under pretty much constant infusions of either different types of blood, different types of chemotherapy, stuff to flush out the chemotherapy that from places it doesn't need to be, anti-nausea stuff. I'm on a bit of a regimen here. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, I can imagine it is. And even before the coronavirus outbreak, Brian, you had been very vocal about the importance of blood donations, and we've heard about a significant drop in donations. So tell us about how those donations are so absolutely critical part of your treatment and the treatment of so many other Canadians who are watching you right now.
Well, the thing about donating blood is that it's, even without this virus going on, it's one of those things, it's always needed. And cancer patients, people who have been in, let's say, a car accident, they're losing blood very quickly, then they always need it. So it's not something where a blood worker will just say, oh, you know what, we don't need to worry about that today, we got plenty. They're always in need. So to have this madness happen and numbers that probably weren't high enough in terms of donations in general plummet because people are afraid that it's not safe or that it's not something that they should bother worrying about. We'll get it when it's all over. It really puts it in a very, very crucial light when you need blood and platelets and all kinds of different things every day to live.
And for anybody who hasn't already done it, and Brian, I want you to reiterate that on the website, Canada Blood Services website, they explain the extreme measures they're going to so that we can safely donate blood for people like Brian and others who so desperately need it. And Brian, I mean, you look great. You got your patriotic sweatshirt on there. You're brave enough to do this interview with us today. But I'm thinking of your parents probably watching you right now, and help us under. There's your beautiful family now. We're seeing a photograph. The rules of physical distancing. It means that Rick and Sheila and your brothers, Tate and Ian, have not been able to visit you. That has got to be so difficult.
Lisa, it's hell. It's terrible. Especially this past weekend, we were hoping to celebrate my dad's birthday on Saturday, but instead they dropped off some things here for me, and I didn't get a chance to see them. Can't go down and say, hey, good to see you. Stay safe. But thankfully we can communicate by FaceTime, by text. We're still in constant contact, but not having them there to put your hand on your shoulder through a really tough procedure or to say, it's going to be all right, we've got this. I can't imagine how, it's the worst kind of torture. It's awful.
You know, Brian, it's important for you to know that you've got a national embrace. We can't physically hug you, but you have the country now watching you, praying for you. And how are the staff there? Have you noticed different measures they're taking in just the way they treat you? And I mean treatment.
Well, this is my first time being in, so I don't know what it was like before, but I know that there's no, I'm not even allowed to leave my room. Just as a precaution, they're switching gloves every time they go into a room. They're switching masks. no one's allowed up here that doesn't work here on this floor. They're taking things very seriously. They screen people before they come in and out of the hospital. It's reassuring as a patient, and these nurses and doctors are just the best of the best. They're doing the very best that they can, and they're taking excellent care of me and all of us here.
So glad to hear that, and not surprised. I mean, we see that in hospitals across this country, just the hard work of those with the COVID patients and those like yourself. But for anybody out there still not practicing physical distancing or think, I've heard it myself. I've heard people actually say, oh, this is overblown, as recently as 3 days ago. What do you say to those people?
Get with the program. People aren't here to we're not in the business of scaring people for the sake of scaring people. It's not a joke. We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for real. And try to picture yourself going through the worst thing you could be going through, and not even being able to have your mom there or your dad there or any of your friends there, being truly, truly alone. And then get back and talk to me and see if you can handle a couple days inside with Netflix and some video games, because I think you can handle it.
And, I think you're absolutely right. I think that you are immune compromised, and there's such a spike in coronavirus patients already coming in. So it is so important to hear you and to see you strong. And we'll check back with you, because I feel that it's so important for Canadians to really hear your message. And let's reiterate it again. The reason you found the strength today to do this interview is to tell Canadians two things: donate blood and don't mess around with physical distancing.
Exactly, because if you take the time and stay home and take this seriously, it's more likely that I'll get to hug my mom quicker, and I'll get to tell my brothers that I love them in person quicker. And if you donate blood, you're directly helping me. You could be saving my life directly. And everybody else in this hospital across the country, you're doing a great service there. So yeah, that's my main two messages: stay home and donate blood. It's totally, totally safe to do so.
Brian Fraser, we thank you so much for sharing your story with us and your important message that everybody needs to hear. We wish you strength. As I said, it's a national hug you're getting virtually today. And I also want to remind viewers they can go to blood.ca to find out how to donate blood in their area. It is so important, especially right now for people like Brian. We know you have an army of people supporting you, including us. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, Brian Fraser. A strong and brave young man. And as we wait for the Prime Minister